I've been in his situation before, jumping weight classes, and when you're a good fighter, that doesn't matter.
Hey, listen, we're all gonna be quiet for Sunday.
This is a massive fight. It's the biggest fight in boxing, and I'm looking forward to it.
I have never seen a fight with two guys more explicitly concerned with their reputations, not for this year or next month or next year, but for all time.
Canelo Alvarez arrived with full confidence and focus, and the crowd went wild. His entrance fired up the fans and set the tone for a big night coming up. Before the mega fight, Canelo said this camp felt different. He credited Boots for helping sharpen his skills and strategy. Their long connection added comfort and speed, giving Canelo extra confidence as he prepares to face Crawford.
Yeah, more than one time, yeah, and he helped me really good, and I'm very grateful with him. We have history because 14 years ago, his older brother, Ennis, helped me for when I fought Shane Mosley and Alfonso Gomez. So that's why we have history with the Ennis family, and I'm very grateful with him taking the time and go there and give me some work.
Do you think was there anything in particular that you guys worked on that you feel like was beneficial?
No, he worked his team. He's very similar to Crawford. He switched guards too. He's fast, and he's a pretty good fighter. So I work really good with him.
Meanwhile, as fight night approaches, excitement for Canelo versus Crawford is at an all-time high. Crawford admitted he never thought he'd share the ring with a star like Canelo, but embraced the surprise matchup. Speaking with confidence, he said he's ready, motivated, and excited to make history once again by chasing another championship in this career-defining battle.
You know, like, well, me personally, I never would have thought me and Canelo would be in the same ring together. But then again, I thought me and Pacquiao would be. So, you know, with boxing, you gotta expect the unexpected, you know, at times. So we here now, I'm excited, and I'm about to, you know, go out there and do my thing and become the 3-time undisputed champion of the world.
Moving on, excitement is building worldwide as the fight draws closer, capturing the attention of boxing fans everywhere. Canelo shared his thoughts on the massive attention surrounding the event, highlighting the stakes and the talent on display. He emphasized the importance of the matchup and the excitement of proving who truly stands as the best among boxing's elite.
Yeah, you know, it's Riyadh season, Netflix, everybody around this fight. You can see that how big is this fight, no? And you have two of the best fighters, pound fighters, fighting each other. So Saturday, September 13th, we want to see who's the best.
On the other side, as the countdown to fight night continues, Crawford reflected on the magnitude of the matchup. Facing Canelo represents not just another fight, but a historic chance to cement his legacy. He spoke about the challenges ahead, recognizing Canelo's dominance in the division, and expressed how significant this moment is for his career and the sport of boxing as a whole.
Oh man, this is the biggest opportunity of my career, you know, and this is the opportunity to become, you know, the first 3-weight world champion, undisputed. You know, don't get no bigger than that, especially fighting a guy like Canelo, who's, you know, been undefeated in this weight class, who's, you know, railroaded everybody that stepped in front of him in this weight class. So this is a massive fight. It's the biggest fight in boxing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Additionally, leading up to the showdown, Dana White praised Canelo's mindset and professionalism. He pointed out how uncommon it is to find a fighter who genuinely matches their words with actions. Dana highlighted Canelo's confidence and dedication, showing that his willingness to face top opponents proves both his skill and character, earning respect from fans and insiders alike.
No, you know, the fact that he's going to take this fight, you know, speaks volumes about who he is as a fighter and as a human, and I can tell you this, in working with him, he's one of the greatest guys you can ever work with. He's a good guy, and he absolutely positively believes in himself. Now, you deal with a lot of fighters sometimes that'll talk publicly, like, oh, this, that, but behind the scenes, it's not the case. He is definitely the guy that walks the walk and believes in himself and everything that he says, and he's willing to put it all on the line and prove it. what could possibly be better than that if you're a fight fan?
Continuing his thoughts on Canelo, Dana reflected on his personal experience working with the boxing star. He praised Canelo's approachable personality and professionalism, noting how easy and enjoyable it is to collaborate with him. Dana also shared his excitement about attending his first boxing match, emphasizing how Canelo's character and reputation make the event even more memorable and special.
But when you interact with him and you deal with him in the business side, he's one of the nicest, most easygoing guys you'll ever meet. And, you know, nothing is a problem with him, and he's fun to work with. And then I love Canelo too. So for this to be my first ever boxing match, it's...
Furthermore, before the fight, Bomac fired up the crowd with his bold confidence. He encouraged his fighter to be ready for anything, showing no fear of the challenge ahead. He also praised the opponent's ability to rise under pressure, acknowledging the intensity of facing someone as skilled and fierce as Savage, while building anticipation for the high-stakes showdown in the ring.
Tell him to bring his ass. I mean, I ain't gonna say that. You know, he probably rise. I've seen him rise to the level of competition. And this competition right here, he's about to step in the ring with Savage. This is the highest that you could probably even imagine.
Moving on, the discussions heated up about Bud's potential ranking among boxing's elite. Analyst Luke Thomas shared his perspective. He weighed Bud's achievements and the significance of the matchup with Canelo, considering both skill and weight differences. Luke highlighted the difficulty of comparing fighters across eras and divisions, pointing out that while Bud is highly decorated, certain historic bouts still set the standard for pound rankings.
That's a tough one, man. I agree that if you're talking about, hey, what are the best pound for pound guys if Canelo wins, where would Bud rank? And yeah, like pure pound for pound, Bud is maybe the most decorated, but because of the weight difference, BC, I don't know where to put him. I honestly don't know where. I just, here's what I would say. I definitely cannot rank it above the second Triple G fight. I can't do that.
Following Luke Thomas's discussion on Bud's ranking, Brian Campbell weighed in on how this fight could shape both fighters' legacies. He analyzed Canelo's past wins and challenges, considering how a competitive performance from Crawford might raise the stakes. Brian highlighted that while Canelo remains a top performer, the outcome against Crawford could redefine historical comparisons and impact perceptions of both fighters' careers.
I think it would get more value if Crawford turns out to be super competitive in it and it's this thriller, right? Then you're like, okay, that raises the value. But if I'm going to, right now, as we speak on Friday, September 5th, I'm leaning Canelo here by decision and feel firmly confident in that. I would have to go Triple G #2 as his biggest win, beating Miguel Cotto for the middleweight title, 7 rounds to 5 being his second biggest. You can throw in the knockout of Kovalev. Those are probably the 3 I put in there because, that was him moving up to 175. Obviously, he's lost to greatness in Floyd and Bivol, but it's a hard thing to answer because of that fact. Crawford may end up being literally the best guy he ever beat in terms of the performance.
Building on the legacy discussion, Shawn Porter examined Crawford's approach to overcoming elite opponents like Canelo. He reflected on past fights, noting lessons Crawford learned and areas he must improve. Porter stressed that this matchup won't be decided by a single punch or moment. Crawford will need to maintain focus and adapt round by round to compete at the highest level.
I think Crawford figured out the puzzle near the third half of the third side of the fight, and I think that it was just enough for him to get the victory. But when he goes back and he looks at it, as I spoke to him, he knows that he did things incorrectly, and he told me he just didn't care, so this is that fight where he has to care. This is that fight where he knows it's not going to be one punch. He knows it's not going to be one move at any point in time. He knows that this fight is a round by round fight that he hasn't been in a very long time.
After talking about Crawford, Porter focused on Canelo. He said that even though Canelo's decline has been small, it has started after almost 70 fights. Comparing him to other top athletes, Porter explained that even legends lose some of their edge over time. This could affect how Canelo performs against a younger, fresher Crawford in the ring.
The decline of Canelo has been very, very small, but the decline of Canelo has already begun. I don't know if I can say the same thing about Crawford, but when you look at almost 70 fights, he's almost 70 fights, right, for Canelo Alvarez. That alone should give you the understanding that this guy isn't where he was when he had 50 fights. It's impossible. Respectfully, it's impossible. I don't know if you guys watch football, but we saw Tom Brady be almost electric until his end. But even in his end, he had moments where he didn't look like he did when he had 6 rings, when he had 5 rings.
On the other side, shifting attention to fighter preparation, Paulie Malignaggi focused on how Terence's physical condition affects his performance. He explained how workouts, weight, and muscle pump can change a fighter's appearance and movement. By comparing Terence before and after training, Paulie highlighted how conditioning impacts both his smooth boxing style and overall readiness for a high-level fight like this.
You know, Terence has that smooth boxing flow to him. Are you carrying too much weight to where you're not going to be able to be that smooth? On the left is probably after a workout. You're more shredded after a workout. Not so much that you're not as big, but after a workout, 'cause I went through this a couple months ago where people were, you know, accusing me of being on PEDs and all kinds of crap. I put up a picture right after a workout where I had just lifted weights. So right after workouts, you got that pump. It's nice to take that picture. So he's the same person, obviously, but you see, like, when you don't have that pump. Probably the picture on the right is before a workout, where the way he's looking every day. He's also not flexing, and so this is how he's looking. And of course, it's at the heavier weight. You can, on the left, flex post-workout. You dropped a couple of pounds of water when you worked out.
Building on his analysis of fighters' physical readiness, Paulie Malignaggi turns to Canelo's approach in the ring. He discussed how, at this stage of his career, Canelo sometimes takes a cautious approach in big fights. Paulie raised questions about whether intelligent opponents like Crawford could challenge him enough to push Canelo beyond cruising mode, recalling similar moments from past bouts against Mayweather, Bivol, and Golovkin.
I give full credit, but what I'm saying is, at this age, is Canelo kind of like tiptoed around in this Skull fight too. At this age, we're talking about what Crawford may not be able to do. But then, Chammy made a good point. Bomac and Crawford are very, very intelligent guys who know how to come up with a very good game plan. What if it starts to get a little bit frustrating for Canelo? What if it starts to get a little bit where, wow, this guy's too good for me, and I don't want? Does Canelo put his balls on the line, or does he cruise to that? Whatever, I got another payday out of this, you know, like he did with Mayweather, like he did with Bivol, you know? Because honestly, he did that in the first Golovkin fight too, bro. You brought up the first 2 Golovkin fights.
Turning to the fight's potential outcome, analyst Chris Alieri shared his thoughts on how the match might play out. He focused on the fighter's durability and determination, explaining why a stoppage seems unlikely. Chris highlighted Crawford's strong will and Canelo's experience, noting that regardless of the winner, fans can expect an intense, full-length 12-round battle with very few surprises in terms of early finishes.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I just think that Crawford's will is just is too great. So I don't see the stoppage. I actually don't see the stoppage either way. I think we're getting 12 rounds, regardless of who wins. But that would be crazy. A stoppage either way would be crazy, absolutely crazy. Way crazier if Crawford stops Canelo. But even, you know, Canelo getting the stoppage, giving Crawford his first loss, and stops him. Oof.
Adding on, Teddy Atlas shifted the focus toward mindset, pointing out that while Canelo's power and size make him dangerous, Crawford isn't stepping in unprepared. This is a fight he asked for, not one forced on him. Atlas highlighted that Crawford knows the challenge and accepts it fully. For him, the key isn't surprise or size difference, but confidence, intelligence, and control inside the ring.
Most composed guy, what, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. You think it was, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. That ain't happening with Crawford. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's getting himself and why. He's the one looking for it. He don't have nobody with a gun behind him saying you got to go do this. He's the one. And look, it's a tremendous challenge because Canelo's a tremendous fighter and bigger and strong, and he can. Obviously, he can punch and he can time you, and he can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no doubt about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford just because he's smaller. We're forgetting that.
Furthermore, Wark 100 talked about how Crawford must fight smart against Canelo. He said Crawford needs to be prepared and careful because Canelo is very skilled and different from anyone Crawford has faced. If Crawford brawls early, he could get in trouble, but if he boxes smartly and stays composed, he can last deep into the fight and have a real chance to compete.
I want to see Crawford win. If Crawford could take the hit and is a smart fighter in this fight, he could win. But if Crawford did not prepare, this is a different kind of fight for him. Canelo's a different type of Latino guy, bro. He gonna bring it, he's skilled, We seen Floyd do his thing with him, but that's Floyd.
That was also early in
early.
Canelo's career.
He got to box him. He can't go in brawling with dude. If Crawford go in and box him, I think Crawford got action about the 9th round. 9th round.
Building on that, Work 100 explained the betting odds for the fight. Canelo is the favorite and Crawford is the underdog at almost 2-1. This shows why Crawford must stick to a smart plan and stay patient. The odds reflect what most people expect, meaning strategy and careful boxing will be more important than aggression if Crawford wants to win.
You know, you ain't gonna get Canelo out the way that fast. But if he come in brawling with him in them first 3 rounds, he gonna be in trouble by the 5th.
I mean, look, according to betonline.ag, Canelo is favored -180. Crawford is the underdog at +157.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be the underdog.
With Canelo's arrival, the press talks, and all the expert opinions, this fight has become bigger than just boxing. It's about legacy. Canelo wants to prove he's still the king, while Crawford is chasing history to become one of the best. The energy, the drama, and the stakes make this a fight fans will never forget. Will Crawford shock the world and rewrite history, or will Canelo stand tall and protect his legacy? Share your prediction in the comments below.